Hello generators and manifesting generators. So I got a question today that is not a new question for me, but I realized I've never made a video or written a blog post about it, so I figured I would talk about it today, which is, are we guaranteed success when we honor our inner authority, when we follow our sacral responses, when we listen to where our life force energy wants to go? And that is part of the decision-making process for everybody, whether you're sacral or emotional authority. And as a 1-3 generator and someone who has been deconditioning for almost 7 years, I definitely have some experience with this concept and some answers for you. So are we guaranteed success, or to see the results that we want out in the world when we follow our inner authority? And the short answer is no, we are not. This can seem a little bit conflicting because it's like, why else are we honoring our human design? Why else are we going out of our way to listen to our inner authority and live this lifestyle that's not always the easiest to live? But honestly, living in alignment with our auras and with our human design, the only thing it promises us is that we get to live as our true selves. It doesn't necessarily say that we will get the thing that we want or that we'll get the outcome that we want. However, when we live in alignment with our inner authorities, what I've noticed is that we get the experience that we are meant to have, that is ours, that is truly unique to us. And for me, that's worth a lot, because conditioning is essentially the world telling us, here's the experiences that you should have. This is what you should do. This is where you should put your energy. This is who you should be. And deconditioning is like the antithesis of that. It's saying you get to live out your path. You get to live out life as your unique self. And what I find is when we live as our unique selves, the experiences we have tend to be quite productive and meaningful for us. So we might make mistakes, we might have failures, but at the end of the day, we're gonna feel like, wow, I really learned something. I really expanded my awareness. I understand myself deeper now. I've been taken somewhere on my path that I wouldn't have expected, but now I can understand why I'm here. You end up in this place that ends up being really satisfying, or you end up having these experiences that you might not have even known were possible. And so you wouldn't have been able to find them on the path that was laid out for you by everybody else. Will we always fail when we're honoring our inner authority? No, we definitely won't. I feel like in the end, we generally do see the results that we want in a broader sense. Like if we have a desire to make a certain amount of money, or experience a certain type of relationship, or take on a certain creative project, we might have some setbacks in the short term, but I still feel that if we are listening to our inner authority and we're thinking in alignment with our desires, meaning we believe and we have a generally positive attitude toward what we're doing and it feels possible to us, then we can experience that outcome that we want. Because when we're thinking in opposition to the thing that we desire, like, oh, I really would like to get this type of job, or oh, I'd really like to take on this type of creative project, or win this award, or whatever it is. If we're thinking like, no, I don't actually believe that this can happen, this will never happen for me, this isn't possible, this doesn't exist, then we're closing off our senses to all of the things that could take us in that direction, all the things that we could respond to. We just won't see as many things to respond to, or we won't see the right things, if that makes sense. Whereas if we're thinking positively, or at least neutrally, about the thing that we want, like, oh, that's definitely possible for me. Like, I know I can do that. Like, I know that's possible. Like, it's just out there. Like, it's waiting for me. It's seeking me. Then we start to notice things that are aligned with that. That's the really cool thing about our minds. We're filtering out so much every day. The example I always use is like, you buy a new car and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, when before you never saw that car. So there's a lot of things that are out there that we're perceiving every day, but if they don't really have meaning for our minds, we won't necessarily recognize them or respond to them. Whereas when we think in alignment, we will recognize and respond to those things. Another thing is that if you have a third line in your profile, you're a 1-3, a 3-5, a 3-6, a 6-3, then you may have a bit more trial and error and failures than the average person. I am a 1-3, so I am intimately familiar with that life, and it's not always easy. A big part of what we're doing here is finding out what doesn't work. And so we have to reframe things a little bit from always wanting success when we respond to something and take something on, and instead recognize, what did we learn? And if we can look back and see that we learned something and we had an experience and we got to do something new and we expanded, then that is kind of a success in our book. I will say I had a lot of what I could perceive as failures this year. They weren't necessarily because of things I did. They were more things in the outside world. Like, for instance, I have built my entire business mostly on traffic that comes in from Google search, and Google introduced the AI summaries, and my organic traffic strategy that relied on some keywords that people search a lot about human design, then they come into my ecosystem and they find things that are interesting and they join my email list and they read my content. That just didn't get those people to my site to begin with. So that caused my traffic to go down by like 90% over the last year. And so I had to adjust a lot of things in my business. There were a lot of things that I had that just didn't sell the way that they used to. I've had to adjust a lot of the ways that I reach people and I make money. And so I felt so much this year like I was a failure. But now I am creating something to help people through those times where maybe something's fallen apart in the outer world, or maybe you just don't have energy for something anymore and you're not sure where you're going to go and you're feeling really lost. And I'm using all of the tools that I used this year to get myself through this transition. And I'm using all of that knowledge and I'm creating something to help other generators and MGs who are going through the same thing. So it's like, just now looking back as a third line, I'm realizing, was this year a failure? If I got this much deeper understanding of the Generator MG experience and I can help more people who I know are also going through these things, especially as things are accelerating and getting crazier with the Aquarian energy on planet Earth. So if you're a third line, you just have to reframe failure. So that's something that can play into this too. And then also for Generators and MGs, our focus just can never be on the end goal. It doesn't mean that we can't have certain results. It doesn't mean that we can't achieve certain things. But rarely does our satisfaction actually come from achieving something. Our satisfaction always comes from how we achieved it. Did we enjoy the process? Did we enjoy the experience? Did we enjoy how we used our energy? Because we can achieve things, and I have absolutely done it. I have gotten promotions, I've gotten places in my former career, I've had launches within my current business, I've made certain amounts of money, and when I did not do it in alignment with something that genuinely felt satisfying for me every day, like something that I was excited to do that felt really good, you can reach that goal and you will feel incredibly hollow, burnt out, drained. It's not sustainable. It ruins your life. So for us, we really have to focus on making sure that we're enjoying the things that we're doing each day and actually being very present and rooted in the process. And what I've found is that when we do that, those things tend to be successful in the long run. So yeah, we kind of have to decondition from this concept of, success versus failure, and accept that sometimes when we live as our true selves, we don't always end up exactly where we thought we would be or where we wanted to. But it's not a reason to stop listening to our inner responses, because at the end of the day, I still think it's worth it to get to live as yourself and have a few failures, as opposed to following someone else's path and still probably having a few failures or many failures, as the conventional paths are becoming a lot less stable here on planet Earth right now, and that will only increase over the next few years. So hopefully this answers that question. If you have this question and have stumbled upon my area of the internet, I have lots of human design resources. I specialize in generators and manifesting generators, so make sure to give my channel a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.